Not all of them, but a great amount of them. And sometimes one will do it in December, and you got an ice storm coming, and she's got little pin things sticking out, and oh my God, it's just awful. But they do it when they're going to do it, and they lose most of their feathers, and then they build feathers back in. So that takes all their energy. So they do not lay any eggs for a couple of months while they're doing the molt. And then after that, they'll resume, usually in February when the big urge comes, daylight lengthens, and then they'll start laying again, but there will be a fewer eggs, but the eggs generally are larger. And then they'll keep on laying. 5 years old is kind of a watershed. I think it's like a person becoming 50 or 60 years old or something. Some of them will keep on going, maybe just in the spring, just February through March or April, and then, oh, what am I doing this for? I want to go to the mall or whatever. So I'm through with this. I don't want any kids anymore. But generally 5 years is when they kind of start tapering back, and just do it this spring, and then it's pretty. But 8 to 10, forget it. Now Tootie J. Tootums, who is my favorite hen, she tried to lay a couple eggs this spring to, give it a good try. And she sat on the nest for a long time. And then finally she just got up and said, oh, that was a mistake. I'm wrong. It was something else. And so then she laid one just right on the run under the fig tree a few days later. And I saw her, I thought, my gosh, she's doing it this time. When a hen is laying an egg, it takes about 25 hours to make the egg. And they eat, and all they do is eat, and they relax and so forth. But it takes 25 hours to form the egg. And then when they get on the nest, it takes about 30 minutes to actually lay it. And they kind of zen out. You've seen them. They zen out, and you can even run your hand under and get the rest of the eggs out from under them, And most of them don't mind that, but some of them peck you real good. And then the other hens are waiting for that nest. And they're pacing back and forth. Now see those two up there? They're really pissed because somebody's in their nest. And so they'll walk back and forth and just harangue the hen that's in there, but she could care less. She'll pick a little straw, toss it over her shoulder, just to irritate him. Look like she's going to really be in there for the long haul, maybe 2 months. And they're just really upset about it. And sometimes they'll give up and get into another nest, and sometimes they'll get up, well, I'm hungry now, I'll go eat something, and suddenly they got to lay the egg, and they'll just pop right out, and they'll look at it, oh, well, okay, and walk on off, get a drink of water down. So it's tough, but generally everything calms down after 5 years of age, and then there'll be your pets only. And they'll still eat, of course. They'll eat a lot, but that's about when that happens. Now, if you want to raise chicks, which I don't advise, to tell you the truth, from egg, hatch eggs, you'll have what's called a broody hen, and there are certain breeds that are more susceptible to this ancient ritual. The white leghorn generally is not one of them. It's been bred out of her. I have had a production red sit on eggs for a long time, and barred rocks have done it, and the sexlings have done it, Americanas have done it, and but a lot of them just don't have any desire. It's fun and fine to lay the egg, but after that, let's get over there and get to eating. So, but when that happens, when you have a hen that just won't get off the eggs, then she's broody. She's not going to lay an egg while she's doing that because her job is now changed. She is going to take care of the eggs. And so if you leave eggs under her, if you want to leave the eggs under her, you can mark them with marks a lot or something, and then still reach under her because other hens will come in and lay eggs. So if you allow them to do that, then you're never going to be through. There's going to be eggs of all different ages in there. So mark the ones you want to keep and then take all the rest to eat. And then it takes about 21 days. But of course they've been laid on different days most likely, so it may take a little longer for her to hatch them. But eventually it'll happen unless they're not fertile. Now if you've got 120 chickens, you got one rooster, that's going to be a real man there if he fertilizes all those chickens. So if you've got a more modest ratio, like 6 hens and 1 rooster, then they're probably all fertile. But if they're fertile, they'll hatch. And then the hen knows that the chicks don't need to eat for about 48 hours. So she's not in a rush to get them out of the nest. And that allows the other ones to hatch on out. But if there's so many under her that eventually she has to give up. I had a hen one time, Wild Mommy was her name, and she was a black sex link, but she was wild. And I let the chickens all out, and she didn't come back. And I thought, well, something's gotten her. And she didn't come back for a month. And finally, she walked up with 8 chicks. And I found her nest in the weeds, and it still had 4 eggs in it. But, she said it's time to get on with it, So she hadn't been near the rooster in all that time, in a month. Yet she had all these fertile eggs, and a whole bunch of them, like 8. So at that point I thought, it must be that when the rooster fertilizes the hen, she stays fertile. It's more than one egg that's being fertilized. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not a scientist, and I've never seen it anywhere in a book. But that may be the deal. So maybe Rusty could handle this flock here. I don't know. But so she came. Of course, then a cat. She wouldn't come into the hen house, so a feral cat got one every day. And that was pretty awful. And then finally I got her and the last little chick, Black Molly, into the hen house, and then they stayed in there and became a part. But the problem is, and Black Molly, I was real lucky that she turned out to be a hen, because the problem is when you hatch them like that, you're going to get half roosters. You could get all roosters. It's the luck of the draw. It's like people. Half of us are male, half of us female. So you're going to get a mixture. Now, what are you going to do with the roosters? That is the big question. I'm asking that myself. What am I going to do with these 3 roosters that I did not do anything bad to get 3 roosters? But, so you got that problem. And now if you eat them, that's the problem is solved. You want to eat them preferably before they crow. When they crow, the hormones are raging. They're going to get pretty strong tasting. But, stewing roosters and coq au vin and all that stuff, it'd be good if you do that. If not, I don't know what you're going to do with them, because really, generally, nobody wants a rooster. It's very sad. But at least they got to live for those 5 months or so in paradise with all these virgins. At least they got to live that nice life. And, in the hatcheries, generally 30 minutes is their lifespan. Because there's the box where all the little pullet chicks go, and then there's the black plastic bag where the little roosters go. And it's a very sad thing. It'd be nice if they could do some kind of genetic engineering where they just hatched out hens, if that's what they're going to do, and just have a few roosters rather than going through that and dumping them in there. And they become fertilizer and dog food, that kind of thing. So that's the sad story about roosters. I personally love having a rooster. I love the crow. I don't know if I'm going to love 4 crows, but I love the crow in the morning. And if people aren't up by 5:30, well, something's wrong. They all need to get up, go to work. But that's a good thing. And they do watch out for hawks. And we have hawks around here. I think it's because Dorsey got her 200 birds, and Paula's got her 100 birds, or whatever. She's 60 birds, and Rainley's got 30 birds, and the hawks have moved in. This is good eating over here. So they do watch out for the hawks and alert the hens, and they call hens over to find that they found some food for them. They call them over and share it, because a rooster really doesn't have to eat as much as a hen does, because a rooster's not making an egg. So they'll call a hen over for something, pick it up, drop it, and say something sweet, and she'll go over there, and then they'll say, fooled you, and then jump her. It's kind of bizarre. And maybe do a little wing down dance. You've seen that if you've got a rooster. They're really interesting. So, but we don't let children get into the hen house at all, because a lot of roosters do not like children. They don't like anybody short, so you can't go in there either. So it's just threatening to them, and they know kids are going to do something, chase the hen or something. So generally, when people ask me if they should get a rooster, I always ask them, well, do you have kids? Yeah, I have, well, I would either lock your kids up or lock the rooster up. It's not worth it, because it's not that they will spur them, it's that they will peck them, and they're too close to a child's eye and stuff like that. So that's no good. If also I ask them, of course, anybody that's getting chickens, I say, do you have dogs? They always say, oh yes, my dog is wonderful, it won't hurt anything, and of course that's until you turn your back. And there's really mainly one way to break a dog. Now I'm kind of getting into predators, in which your 5-0 is kind of a predator. And the main way to break a dog of killing your chicken is to go ahead and let them kill a chicken. Well, hopefully it's one that you didn't like, or one that's old, but it won't. It'll be your prize young pullet. And then you, since the dog is so excited about that, you hang the dog around her neck. The chicken around her neck, and then